Hey there, welcome back to PsychSizzle. Today, we will look into 5 psychology myths that you probably believe in. Psychology is fascinating, but it's also surrounded by myths that refuse to go away. Let's dig into some of the most popular myths and the research that debunks them. Myth 1. You've probably heard the myth, we only use 10% of our brain. Sounds inspiring, right? But this claim is completely false. Modern neuroscience has proven that almost every part of the brain is active throughout the day, even when we're resting. The origins of this myth might come from early researchers who admitted they didn't yet know what certain areas of the brain were responsible for. This was misinterpreted to mean those areas were unused. But the tragic case of Terry Schiavo, who suffered severe brain damage in 1990, losing 90% of functionality, showed just how essential every part of the brain is to our daily functioning. Brain imaging technology, like fMRI and PET scans, confirms that there's no magical 90% waiting to be unlocked. We use most of our brain all the time. Success comes from dedication and hard work, not from discovering hidden brain power. Myth 2. Are you left-brained or right-brained? Let's put this one to rest. While it's true that the two hemispheres of the brain have specialized functions, they're far more interconnected than people realize. This myth became popular after research on split-brain patients, those who had their corpus callosum surgically severed to treat severe epilepsy. Researchers Roger Sperry and Michael Gazzaniga discovered that in these patients, the two hemispheres could operate independently, leading to some fascinating behaviors. For instance, one hand could button a shirt while the other unbuttoned it. But in a healthy brain, the two hemispheres work together seamlessly. Modern neuroscientists agree that the idea of a logical, analytical left brain and a creative, intuitive right brain is overly simplistic. Both sides collaborate on almost everything you do. Myth 3. Opposites attract. The idea that opposites attract has been romanticized in movies, books, and even dating advice. But science tells a different story. Tim LaHaye's book Opposites Attract popularized this belief, claiming that contrasting personalities complement each other. However, studies like those by Lewick, Wakefield, and Briggs in 1985 found that people with similar traits and values are actually more likely to form successful relationships. Even in friendships, Don Byrne's classic research showed that we're drawn to people with attitudes and interests that mirror our own. While opposites may attract initially, similarities tend to sustain deeper connections over time. Myth 4. Venting anger helps. Feeling angry? Many people believe that smashing things or shouting into a pillow will help them feel better. This idea dates back to Sigmund Freud, who thought that repressed anger could lead to psychological issues like hysteria. In fact, some modern therapies even encourage venting anger physically, like destructotherapy, where people smash objects to release pent-up rage. But does it work? Research says no. For over 40 years, studies have shown that venting anger often makes it worse. One early experiment found that people who hammered nails after being insulted were even more critical of the person who offended them. Research suggests that expressing anger is helpful only when it's accompanied by constructive problem-solving designed to address the source of the anger. Because people feel better for a short period of time after they blow off steam, it may reinforce aggression. Also, people often mistakenly attribute the fact that they feel better after they express anger towards an object rather than to the fact that anger usually subsides on its own after a while. Remember, anger often subsides naturally if you give it time. Myth number 5. Psychologists can read minds. And finally, let's bust a big one. Psychologists can't read minds. This myth probably comes from how skilled psychologists are at observing behavior, identifying patterns, and asking the right questions. But they rely on science, not psychic powers, to understand people. Through techniques like active listening and psychological assessments, psychologists help clients explore their thoughts and feelings, but they're not magically plucking information out of thin air. So, those were 5 of the biggest myths in psychology debunked. The field of psychology is full of fascinating truths, and separating fact from fiction helps us better understand ourselves and others. Which of these myths surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into the mind.